Apurva, if you see, even today, there are very few women who have reached the top levels of leadership. But you stuck on right from a time when women were not seen in that position or in those positions. You stayed on, grew, and became an inspiration. So, looking back, what is it that allowed you and made you grow that path very seamlessly and helped you take everything in your stride?
So Rashmi, I often talk to young women and when they see people like me, and you're absolutely right that there is less than 5% women leaders in any sphere of whether it's politics or whether it's Fortune 500 companies, corporate India, education, etc. So they look at me, they say, oh, you must have had some special benefits or some special mentorship or some support, or you must be having some unique talent and skill, and we don't have the same thing. And my answer always is that no, that's not true. I am exactly the same as you. I've got exactly the same strengths and weaknesses, not extra talent, not extra skill than any of you. But the difference and two, three things that I feel resulted in me becoming a leader both at a young age and staying the course, staying through, the 30, 40 years of my career. And one is that I did not give up. So there is a lot of hard work, especially the first 10 years of your married life, children, your career is taking off, your children are growing. So there, you're doing two jobs, maybe even three jobs. So your career is taking off, so you're dedicating a lot of effort there. Your children are growing, so you need to be the primary nurturer. Whatever you say, however fair the world will become, you are the primary nurturer. And then maybe you will have some other responsibilities of ailing parents, etc. And women run away from that hard work. They don't want to do. They give up. And my stance always has been that you can't give up. You can't give up on anything. Whether you want to become a successful woman, a leader, or a sales head, or a CEO, or an entrepreneur. Grit and determination is far more important than any talent, skill, mentorship that you will receive. So you can't give up. And I did not give up. Then through all the same pregnancy, working through the 9 months, traveling by train every day, coming back, cooking, getting ready for the next day. But several of us did that. And that's why we are where we are. I think that's one part. The other is the ability, willingness to take risks. Many women, the stagnation point that we discussed, so, they stagnate at a point because they're comfortable. And we like to be comfortable because we've been uncomfortable all our lives. Now, people have, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. So when we find a comfort zone, we want to stick there.
Yeah.
But I've always pushed myself out of comfort zones. So whenever I got an opportunity, and other women would have also got the opportunity, but they did not grab it. I grabbed it. It may have been uncomfortable for the first 1 year. I maybe have been a very, let's say, a toxic environment for the first year before I settled in and changed the culture. But I grabbed opportunities. I was willing to walk out of my comfort zone. I think these are the two behaviors. If any woman gets right, she will succeed.
So from this stems a question, Apurva, that see, today women have people like you who walk the path as mentors that they can choose to learn from, but you didn't have a lot of mentors to choose from. So life would have been lonely at times because not everybody understands. So you become your best friend, your biggest critic. So what kept you going? Who were the mentors you really sought and learned from? And was a lot of it very much from within, that those moments with the self became the biggest learning moments?
I would say, Rashmi, the second one, because as you're rightly saying, there were no mentors, there were no people. Everybody was learning themselves, right? So you didn't even, as we discussed, corporate India did have leaders at that time.
Yeah.
But I do say that I did spend a lot of time on reflection. I was always a more self-reflective kind of a person. And from day one, one thing I was very clear about is that I don't need to follow a trodden path. I don't need to be popular. I don't need to do what my neighbor is doing, what my colleagues are doing. I will just walk to a tune of my own making. So that now how that happened, that independence of thinking,
Mhm.
see, independence of thought. I can't join any dots and say my parents fostered it or something happened in my life that made me become like that. But I was always very independent minded.
Hmm, hmm. Wow. So I think you're the right person to describe empowerment. A beautiful point to ask you what it means. And since we are in the Women's Month, uh, what does the word empowerment mean to you?
For me, empowerment means the ability, two things. Empowerment for me means the ability and the resources and the impact giving skills to empower other women.
Hmm,
Otherwise, empowerment generally for me starts with financial independence. I
hmm,
tell the whole world, I tell all the women, whatever you may say, oh, look, I didn't change my surname. That's how empowered I am. Look, I don't cook at home. That's how empowered I am. No. Empowerment, if you are able to earn your own living and not dependent on anybody, you're not your parents, not your brother, not your husband, not your children, for your living,
hmm.
that is true empowerment according to me.